There are times in your life when you may realize that one of your side quests is actually more important than your primary quest. That happened to me many years ago, earlier in my life, when my primary quest of focusing on my career suddenly became less important than the side quest of trying to become a better father. I'm Larry Cornett, and this is Invincible Life. This is issue 193. If you want to see some of the stuff I refer to, a chart in particular, you can go to newsletter.invinciblelife.me. The URL is still the same, even though I now refer to this as my side questing podcast, which is all about entering a new phase of life where side quests are actually enjoyable and something you can take time to do without feeling guilty about it. I want to talk a little bit about that today because it is a bit of a special day. I want to dedicate this episode to my daughter, Juliana. She has a birthday this month, and it reminded me of what it was like to become a father for the first time. So many years ago, it was this month, July, when I first became a father. And I had no idea at the time how much it would transform me and completely change my life. And you always know that it will, but I don't think you understand it until you experience it. Because parenting has changed over the past decades. It's changed in my lifetime. People are spending more time with their children than past generations did. And I linked to an article that explains that and shares the data, so you can take a look at that. So I'm Gen X, and as a Gen X dad, I know I spent more time with my kids than most of the boomer fathers that I knew when I was growing up. So I had a lot of exposure, obviously, to my friends' parents, the fathers in town, and my cousins' fathers, my uncles. So I know that I was more involved with my children and raising my children than most of those fathers. But I was pretty lucky, actually. My dad was different. My dad's pretty great. So even though he's a boomer, he spent a lot of time with us. When he wasn't working, and he worked hard, sometimes he worked multiple jobs to help us get by. I've talked about this. We didn't grow up with money. We grew up kind of poor. But when he wasn't working, we did stuff as a family, right? We went shopping together on the weekends. My parents would take us to drive-in movies. Do you remember those? I don't know. Maybe some of you are too young to even have experienced a drive-in movie. I know it's making a bit of a comeback in some places. My dad was big into hunting and fishing, so he took us, my brother and I, hunting and fishing a lot. My brother's only about a year and a half younger than I am, so we did a lot of stuff together. In the summers, like it is now, we swam a lot. Like, he would come home from work and we'd immediately pack up a cooler with dinner and drinks and head for the lake or go to the river and swim to cool down because it was hot. Hot summers in the Midwest. We'd go for long walks in the country. I remember doing that as a child. My parents would take us out into kind of these abandoned roads that would go through winding hills and pastures. And I remember drinking straight from kind of the pumps that came out of windmills in the middle of pastures where cows were. It's like, yeah, fond memories. A lot of sledding in the wintertime. We did a lot of camping and went on vacations together. My dad wasn't one of those dads that instead of being with us, hung out with friends and went to the bar. He didn't do that. He didn't have poker night with his buddies. He did do some hunting and fishing with his brothers and his dad, and then as we got older, we went with them. But most of it was spending time with us, so I was lucky. But that's not true for a lot of the generations. So there's a chart that is showing by father's age, ranging from 20 up to 60, how much time do they spend with their children? And so it's pretty low for the silent generation. A little bit better for baby boomers, not a lot better. And then Gen X had a pretty big improvement. And then millennials are even higher than Gen X. They're only a little bit above us. I know they're bragging about this, but if you look at the chart, Gen X and millennials are pretty close to each other. And I suspect that Gen Z is going to be another generation that spends time with their kids. I'm already seeing it with my children who are Gen Z, how involved they want to be. So yeah, I was more involved, but still, I think it took me a few years of marriage to warm up to the idea of becoming a father. It wasn't top of mind for me. I don't know. I was worried, much like we are now. You think things are different. They're not. There were bad things going on back then. I was like, do I really want to bring children into this world with all the troubles that are going on in this world? Am I going to be a good father? I had my own issues and certainly didn't feel like I had myself all figured out. At the time, right after we got married, I was very focused on my graduate school education. I mean, that consumes you, as you can imagine. So I was pursuing a PhD. Starting my career in Silicon Valley as a software designer. And yeah, the tech industry is not exactly a clock in, clock out, 9 to 5 kind of job. So I was working lots of hours and trying to get things off to a good start, trying to make enough money to support the family and to feel comfortable doing that. I was worried. California is pretty expensive. Bay Area is still outrageously expensive. So it's kind of hard to support a family unless you really work hard and try to get ahead. And the thing that happened, as you can imagine, guess what? You never feel like you have enough money. You never will feel like you have enough money to start a family. You'll never feel like your career is just cruising on autopilot, right? It never gets easier. As you move up and get promoted, the demands increase and the time demands increase. And so it never feels like, wow, it's so easy now. I'm going to start a family. I have so much money and free time. It's like, no, it's never like that. And I remember when my mother-in-law was talking with us about it, about having children. And we explained why we were waiting, right? That, hey, we want to make sure we have enough money. I want to feel like I'm in a good place in my career. We want to feel ready to be parents. And she said, if you wait until you feel completely ready to be parents, you will never have children because you will never feel ready. And she was right. That's true about many things in life. I talk about this when I coach people on how to plan, a self-employed business model that'll help them escape their 9 to 5 jobs. Plan it and test it, and then get ready to quit your job and run your business, so that you can be free. You can have the freedom that comes with self-employment and owning your time, and you could even semi-retire early, like I did at 50. But you know what? No one ever feels 100% ready to quit their job and to go all in on running a business. No one feels like, oh, this is 100% sure. No one ever feels as though they have saved enough money or invested enough to go ahead and just quit and retire early. I mean, you just don't, unless you got really lucky. And some people did. They that nice FU money that happens with a startup occasionally, and they're multimillionaires or they're a billionaire. And you could quit and you'll be okay, but guess what? Even those people don't quit. Well, take a look at all the multimillionaires and billionaires. Are they, except for a few, like Tom from MySpace, are they retired and living on a beach? No. There are a lot of reasons they keep doing what they do, and I'm happy to talk about that sometime, but I don't think I'm going to get into that in this podcast episode. But at some point, if you know you want to become a parent, it is a bit of a leap of faith. So if you are a younger person and you are thinking, yeah, I want to be a parent someday, you haven't done it yet, it's a leap of faith. Sure, you shouldn't rush into it like some unprepared fool, just throw caution to the wind. Hey, I don't have any money. I'm homeless and I'm going to have a kid. It's like, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who, they have a job, they're making money, they're living okay, and they know they want to have a kid, but they're like, whoa, if I just had more money and more time. It's like, yeah, you can't keep putting it off if this is what you want. You can't keep putting it off until it's just too late. And at some point becomes physically impossible, right? If you're 70, 80 years old and you're like, okay, now I'm ready, except for some of the weirdos in Hollywood who have a kid at 75, not usually a good idea for most of us, right? Good luck with that. So it's a leap of faith. And so, yeah, we obviously became parents. I talk about my kids all the time. And it worked out. It worked out despite all of our worries and fears. And it was scary at first. I still remember our daughter being born and being there. This is also a difference, right? My dad was not in the room when my mom had us. I was in the room holding my wife's hand and went with my daughter when she wasn't breathing, and the doctor did a little bit of oxygen and suctioning, and she went from blue to pink, and that's still the most vivid memory. And I can't even tell you that feeling of absolute terror when your child is born, but they're not breathing and they're blue. And then when they take that first breath and their entire body just changes like a chameleon, like she went from blue to this fluorescent pink in half a second and started crying, and she was okay. And just my heart exploded, right? I went from fear to love and relief. There's a lot that was scary for me as a new father. My wife, on the other hand, is such a natural mother. I mean, she really is. And I'm not exaggerating when I say she is the best mom in the world. She's fantastic. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and ask our children. Ask them, see what they think. They absolutely adore her. They talk to her every day. And our kids are in their 20s and they're out and living their lives, but we text every day, they call. They love her. They adore her. Everyone does. My wife's pretty amazing. Definitely a better person than I am. So I think remembering it, she just flowed right into it. Like caring for our newborn daughter and nursing her and taking care of her and giving her what she needed, right? All the love and care and warmth and everything a little baby needs, right? So loving that little person more than anything else in the world. I mean, that helps when your heart is just exploding with love for this little person. But I still felt like I had to learn how to be a father, right? I don't know. The loving part was easy. Like my heart had never felt anything like that before. And that's true with all my kids when I think about it. I can still remember vividly each one of them being born. I was there. And I can still remember that feeling and even how I feel right now about them. It's like, I don't know, you can't really explain it to someone who isn't a parent. You just can't. being a pet parent's not the same. I've had cats and dogs my whole life, and yeah, I love my pets, and you love your dog, but it's not the same as your child. Not even. I'm sorry. And I know it's going to offend some people, but it's the truth. I've been on both sides. I've had it all. I know the difference. And I know not all parents feel it, and I'm sorry about that too. I'm sorry about that too. I don't know what that is when the parents don't feel this overwhelming love for their child. And I feel sorry that the parents can't feel that. And I feel sorry for the children, because that unconditional love of a parent, there's nothing like it. Somebody that would sacrifice everything, somebody that would die for you for the rest of your life. I mean, when do you have that in your life, right? And I tell my kids that it's like, they got to go live their lives and find people that they can love and have their own children. But yeah, that love of a parent for the child it's unconditional, and it's unlike anything else in this world. It really is. Yeah, no questions, no second guessing, no hesitation. I would do anything for my children. I would die for my children without even a second thought about it. And a funny thing happens when you've known someone and loved them from birth, from the moment they entered this world. They exist in your heart and in your mind as this continuum. You see this continuum from baby to adult, to their current life and age. And I have this strange visual in my mind that reminds me of this television series, this cartoon called Avatar: The Last Airbender. And maybe some of you have watched it. My kids watched it with me. We all did. The whole family watched it. We loved it. Watched it for years when it first came out. And there's this visual, there's this moment where the Avatar Aang is looking back on this almost infinite line of people that were the previous avatars. Like, it stretches into the distance, and it's like that. Like, you see your child as they are today, and they're an adult in our case, but I also see them as young teenagers and children and babies. I see it all. I see them as they have existed at every moment. That flow of existence from newborn to adult. And it comes along with this blend of memories from their entire lives. I flow in and out of those memories constantly. Things pop into my head every day. And I have loved them and interacted with them in ever evolving ways. And sometimes it's hard to let go of that memory and the image of the babies and young children. It's such a special time, and you miss it. You miss it. You miss what that was like. In the middle of it, you're just overwhelmed and stressed and tired. And when people tell you you're going to miss this, you don't believe them. But I can tell you, if you are dealing with that right now, as hard as it is, and as stressful and as tired and all that stuff that's going on with raising young children, you will miss it when they're out of the house. You will. And I think part of it for me specifically is I had to work a lot when they were young. Like I said, I had a Silicon Valley tech career for about 20 years, and I worked a lot. Long hours, nights, weekends. I would often not see them in the morning because I had to get up and commute to work. Sometimes a 1 to 2 hour drive. So they weren't up yet. And I'd get home late. I didn't eat dinner with my family. I'd get home late and they were in bed already. So I didn't see them sometimes all week. So I wasn't as present in their lives as I wished I could be. And that saddens me. And that's perhaps why I cling to those memories of their childhood. Perhaps more than other parents might. I don't know. So as a Gen X father, my career was supposedly my primary quest. You know, it's all about the career and making money and supporting the family. And being a dad was secondary. It was my side quest. You know, being a husband and a father was after the career. And that's messed up, right? It's kind of messed up. And I'm glad to see that younger generations are challenging that notion, that tradition. I'm sure we all need to make a living. We got to have a job. We got to make money. But raising good and amazing people, your children, who can help bring more good into this world just because they're good people, wow, that is more important than any corporate mission statement or any career goal. Very, very, very few of us 0.01% are doing something like curing cancer or saving humanity. And even the ones who claim they are a bunch of frickin' liars. I'm not going to name names, but they're greedy, selfish, filthy billionaires who are pretending they're doing it for us, but really it's for them. And it comes out in the end that they're selfish and narcissistic monsters. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, I eventually figured that out because I can tell you my corporate career, the work I was doing was certainly not curing cancer or solving world hunger. Was not more important than raising great people who are going to help bring more good into this world. So I walked away from my corporate career in 2010. It's been, 26 years now. I wanted to be a better father. I wanted to be a better husband. I wanted to invest in my relationships and have more time for them because it's not just about quality time, folks. It is about quantity too. Sorry, another thing that's going to piss people off. I also wanted to take better care of myself. You know, my health, I had not been. I've talked a lot about my health and fitness journey because I knew I wasn't going to be there to see my kids grow up if I didn't do something about it. I was going to die. I'd have a heart attack or something. I'm not exaggerating. I've lost friends already to heart issues and cancer and so forth. I certainly wasn't going to live long enough to see them start their own families, and I wasn't going to be a grandfather. I want to be. I want to be a grandfather. I'm really looking forward to that. The path I was on at the time was risking all that, so I walked away and I did my own thing and had more time for my family. When I look back at my life's accomplishments, and I've done some stuff, I got a PhD. I climbed the career ladder and became an executive. I was a vice president. I founded my own startups. I was a CEO and a founder. Okay, whoop-de-doo. I look at all that, and in the old me, the young me would have said, "Hey, way to go, man. This is everything you wanted." And it's like, none of that compares to being a dad. And you probably think I'm making that up. You think I'm being trite, but nah. Like, that's my biggest accomplishment, the one I'm most proud of, the one I identify with. I am a father and a husband first. I'm a coach second. I run a coaching business, as you know. I do leadership coaching and business coaching and life coaching, trying to help people feel more empowered and get more out of life. But that comes after being a father and a husband, They come first. I take care of myself and my health and then my business, obviously. I got to run a business, but it no longer takes precedent and runs roughshod over everything else. I enjoy it. I enjoy running my business. I love helping people. I've worked with some amazing people, but my family comes first, always. I will cancel meetings. I will stop working with somebody. I will quit jobs, and I have, because if they interfere with my relationship with my family, it's not worth it. You can always make more money. You can. Jobs are a dime a dozen. I know it doesn't always feel that way, but you can get another job. There are tons of employers. There are millions of employers. Can you replace your family? Nope, you sure can't. My children are the best thing that has ever happened to me. They really are. They are the most amazing people I know. And I know every parent says that about their kids, but they really are. And I wish you could meet them, because everyone who does says, "Oh my gosh, these are such wonderful young people." They are so smart. They are adventurous. They're courageous. They're better people than I am. They're compassionate, they're caring, they give back, they're funny and enjoyable. They're wonderful people to spend time with. I just love spending time with them. And we do. We spend a lot of time together. We're lucky that they still enjoy spending time with us and being with us. They come home to visit. We travel to see them, and we spend weeks there. We don't just try to squeeze in a 1 or 2 day trip. And we still do a lot of stuff together. We go hiking together. We go backpacking and camping. We travel together. We went to Mexico together. We ski together. We play games. We vacation. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff together and still do. And it's amazing. And that's why I had to intentionally design my business the way it is. So it's flexible. It's mostly asynchronous. I have occasional phone calls and stuff, but a lot of it's through chat and working on documents together, collaboration. I made sure it was location independent. I don't want something that's tied down to a brick and mortar location. I want to be able to travel with my laptop and phone and work from anywhere in the world. And I do. I've worked from Alaska when I was staying with my kids. We worked in Mexico, Maui. So I basically own my time. I travel when and where I want. And that means we can visit our children and spend several weeks with them. And this didn't happen by accident. I did this intentionally. It took years. No job would have ever enabled it. And I know I worked for other people for decades, and none of them gave me this kind of flexibility. They just don't. And it hasn't been easy. I've had to make a lot of sacrifices. We all have, but it's been 100% worth it, right? So the side quest became my primary quest. The whole side quest of, I'll be a parent on the side actually became my primary quest. It's really much more about that. In this case, it happened because it should have happened. It wasn't an accident. I think many of the issues in our world come from poor parenting. Again, that's going to piss people off. I'm not the first person to say that. I hear the stories. I have friends. I have lots of people I talk to. I have clients. And boy, oh boy, I hear some horror stories about bad parents. Parents who are just so abusive to them, if not physically, verbally, emotionally. Toxic parents, parents who would lock them in the basement all weekend, parents who would throw parties and disappear, and the kids didn't know where they were. They'd disappear all weekend. Horrible crap. Parents who didn't love them. Maybe they provided for them, but they didn't love them. They never showed them love. They never hugged them, never said, I love you, never said, I'm proud of you. Absentee parents, kind of like I was guilty of. It's like, yeah, the list goes on and on. And yeah, some people rise above that. Some people rise above those bad experiences. And because of it, they swear they will never do that to their children. Because of it, they force themselves to be great parents. I love that. And they do. They become good parents despite what they experience. However, some people are damaged by their upbringing, right? And I meet those people every day. I'm sure you do too. They are angry at the world. They're horrible people. They're racist. They're sexist. And they take it out on the rest of us. They're violent. I just encountered a criminal today. It's like they're people who are criminals. They take it out on the rest of the world. Thoughtless, selfish, horrible people. I'm not going to pretend they don't exist and be a Pollyanna about this. And you know it too. There are some really bad people in this world doing really bad things. And I see it all the time, right? And I think maybe not always could have been fixed by good parenting. Some people are just bad. They just are. But a lot of people are damaged by bad parenting. So I guess my message from all this is that it's like, if you're going to be a parent, be a great parent. Make it a priority. Yeah. Yeah, you got to have a job. Yeah, you got to work. Yeah, you got to make money. But make it a priority. And don't just give it the lip service like, oh, yeah, I prioritize. And then they really don't. Don't give me that crap. I hear it all the time. But I mean really prioritizing your children over other things. Really. Because I know people that when they had any free time would leave their kids at home and go on vacation with friends and never vacation with their kids. And their kids raise themselves. That's not prioritizing your children. That's not being a good parent. I'm sorry. In the last few minutes, I'm just going to brain dump a bunch of stuff. And I'm not saying that we were perfect or that we got it right the first time. Certainly didn't in my case. But you know what? We wanted to get better at it. We really wanted to be good parents. We invested in it. We researched. We learned from our mistakes, and we're still trying to improve. We have adult children, and parenting does not stop. I have some news for you. Some people think it does. Hey, you're out of the house. I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. It's like, sorry. Do you love these people? Would you do that to friends who needed you? Why would you abandon your children? People still need the friendship that you can offer, the wisdom, the help, the advice, the support when they need help. Something goes wrong in their life, and it will. They'll have a bad relationship. Things are going to go sideways. They need you. You should be there for them. So we're still working on it. We're still trying to learn how to be great parents with our adult children and be involved enough, but not too much. We certainly don't helicopter, but we don't want to go the other way either, which is, hey, I'm never going to reach out to you. If you want to hear from me, you got to call me. I don't want to be that kind of parent, right? So one is that I said this earlier, quality time matters, sure, but so does quantity. You can't make up for not spending time with your kids by saying, hey, I did 15 minutes of quality time. I read them a bedtime story, and that's great. It's like, no. Quantity time matters. Some of it's just living your life together and doing chores together. They observe you operating in the world, and they learn from being with you. How to behave as a human being, how you treat other people, the fact that you work hard, the fact that you read, they can see you reading, whatever it might be. Quantity does matter. I'm sorry, it does. That is a bitter pill to swallow. It is a pill I had to swallow, and I'm not going to shy away from saying this. Number 2, love them. Love them deeply and fully. I mean, 100% of your heart, right? Give them unconditional love. Accept them and support them completely. Your kids are going to be different than who you are. They are not meant to be your clones. And that can be different in all kinds of ways, right? They can be neurodivergent. Maybe your child is gay and you're straight. Who knows, right? But they're your kid. If you can't accept them, who will? If you can't support them, who will? Love them, accept them, support them, right? I also have some weird ones. This is one that just came up the other day in a conversation. It's like, expose them to a variety of cuisines and foods early in life, very early. We did. Not too early. I mean, we didn't force our kids to eat solids super early. All of our kids were breastfed. But they ate what we ate. We didn't give them, oh, my kid will only eat chicken nuggets and fries. It's like, we didn't do that. No, you're going to the Chinese restaurant with us and you're eating Chinese food. We took them out to Indian food. We went to an Indian buffet every week. We ate a lot of Mexican food, Greek, Mediterranean food, other types of Mediterranean, Indonesian. I mean, we ate and still do everything, sushi. And our kids love all kinds of food. And it's because of this. They were exposed to a variety of foods. And so they really love to explore other cultures and foods, and they cook. All of them cook. It's amazing, right? And that didn't happen accidentally. It's because they ate what we ate. Read to them every day. Read to your kids every day, right? Read them bedtime stories, read during the day, have books in the house. We have bookshelves everywhere in our house until they fall in love with it, and then they become readers. That's another thing this world is missing, and it's declining, and it's horrible. Instead of reading, everybody's scrolling social media and watching little videos on TikTok and YouTube, and nobody reads. And the decline of education, and good Lord, don't get me started. Reading's great. Read to them. Travel with them. So don't dump them at home and say, we're going on a trip. See you in 3 weeks. We traveled with our children. Our children came with my wife to come live in China when I was working there. I was working in Shanghai, about 4 months. And they came over and stayed for at least a month, maybe 6 weeks. And we lived in an apartment and traveled all over China. We took trains and buses, and experience the culture. And so they've gone to Mexico with us. So you know what? You know what's cool about that? Our kids are not racist. They're not horrible people. They have experienced the world in other cultures, and they see that people are people. And we need more of that in this world. Protect them and defend them. You should be their strongest defender, because this world can be rough. This world can really suck. People can be really mean. Bad things happen. You should be there to look out for them and protect them, because they're innocent. When they're young, they're innocent and naive, and there are predators who will take advantage in all kinds of ways. Be the role model for them with your own behavior. So show good behavior. Show that you treat people who wait staff in restaurants, treat them well. People in stores. I remember my son seeing that experience. He was very, very young. He was a little guy. And I bought something and they handed it to me. I paid them and I said, thank you. And as we were walking down the sidewalk, he said, why did you say thank you? You paid them. I said, this isn't about me paying them or them doing something. I said, they were kind. They helped me. They handed me the thing I purchased. It's called kindness. And he learned from that. You treat people with decency. You learn how to do emotional regulation so they can see and learn from you. Self-care, that you take care of yourself and you invest in it, and it's important. Explore the outdoors with them. You know how I feel about nature. I absolutely love it. And I think a respect for this world and the environment and nature comes from exploring the outdoors and being somebody that shows that you're respectful when you do that. You don't throw trash on the ground. You don't leave fires burning to start a frickin' forest fire. Give them a love of this world and nature and the outdoors. Help put them on the path to understand that daily exercise is important. Taking care of their health is important. Our kids watched us doing that, and so they all exercise. Help them grow by letting them face challenges appropriately. You can't mollycoddle them, and you can't protect them from everything. And so there are going to be times they fail. There are what I call safe failures that are small failures that you learn from. So don't put little bumpers and cushions on everything in life so that they never learn how to struggle or fail or grow. So they need to face challenges, but be there for them. Similar, don't give them everything under the sun. I wrote about this a while ago, that trying to give your kids an easy life is going to make them not grow. They're going to be weak. So don't give them everything under the sun. Don't buy every single thing they want. Don't throw so many gifts at them they can't even breathe. I know somebody who, their entire room is filled with toys, wall to wall. And they don't even play with all of them. Limit access to screens. We did that. Our kids did not get phones until they were a little bit older. We didn't let them have social media accounts. We monitored and controlled their time on the computer. It's like bad crap is online, folks. You know this. There are horrible things online. There are predators online. And even if there aren't, social media is not good for kids. The research proves it. Instagram is damaging kids' self-image, their sense of worth. This crap is not good. So limit their access to it. We had a special little phone that when our kids did have to go somewhere, I think it was called Dragonfly. Anyway, it was a phone where it had 2 or 3 quick speed dial numbers. So they could call us, they could call a neighbor if we weren't available. They don't need a smartphone that has access to the entire internet. I know everybody does that. I know this is falling on deaf ears, but they had a phone that was an emergency phone. They could push a button and call us and we could come and get them, and great. That's all they needed. Respect your kids. Mutual respect is important. This is not a one-way street. When you talk with your kids, actually listen. This is something that boomer parents aren't so good at. I still, to this day, am not sure my parents know what I do for a living or what I did for a living. I don't know. A lot of people say, does your parent have a clue what you do for a living, what your career was? And most people are like, no. And then the conversations they have where it's like they call and talk and they try to share something vulnerable, and the parent's like, oh, okay. Well, did you know that Joe Smith died? Remember him? He died the other week. It's like, can we not have a real conversation? Anyway, I could go on and on about that. So talk with your kids and actually listen, show an interest in their life, learn about their lives, their relationships, their careers, ask questions, congratulate them, and you take ownership. You are the adult. You are the parent. Take ownership of staying connected with your children, your adult children. Call them, visit them. Don't just sit back and wait for them to call you. Boy, oh boy, I could go on and on about this one, but geez, what the hell? What is going on? Yeah, call your children, come visit your children. I wish more people would come visit me. I live in a vacation destination. I am right on the edge of the national forest, close to Lake Tahoe, and I can count on one hand the people who've come to visit me over the last 30 years. I have to make all the effort. I'm the one who goes home all the time. It's like, I don't know. It's sad. And so we don't do that. We visit our children and we travel all the way to Alaska and we stay with them for weeks and we're part of their lives. So make that effort. Make that effort. So I'm sure some of this advice and my opinions on some of this stuff is going to resonate with some of you. You're going to be nodding your head and saying, yeah, I get it. I agree. I wish my parents had done that. I want to be a better parent and do that. But I also know some of you will disagree. And that's okay. You know, we're allowed to do that. You may even feel irritated. You may even be pissed off. Well, welcome to the reality of being a human being with opinions and sharing your thoughts about them online, in a newsletter, in a podcast. It's just the way it is. You have your opinions. I have my opinions. Okay, we don't have to agree. So if you don't like it, go ahead and write your own article, record your own podcast. You share your thoughts on parenting and what it's like to raise children. It's a free world. It's really easy to do so. It's free to do so. Express yourself. Get it off your chest. I know that's why I do it. That's why I was ranting so much in this one. Anyway, yeah. Again, this is for my daughter Juliana because it's her birthday this month, and she's the reason I first became a father, and I was just thinking about it and how that eventually put me on the path to realizing how important it is to be a parent and how much good we could do for this world if we raise amazing kids who are then themselves going to put more good into the world and be good parents themselves. It should be your primary quest. Don't let it be a secondary one. All right, take care. Until next time, I wish you the best of luck with pursuing the life of your dreams so you can be happier, healthier, and more fulfilled.